Welcome back to the Future Strong podcast. We're diving into something today that I think affects all of us in some way. Expectations, boundaries, and intentions.
It really does touch every part of life, doesn't it? Whether we're talking personal goals, relationships, or even parenting, these concepts are always there just below the surface.
And you know, it's interesting. One of the sources we looked at had this really unexpected analogy for expectations.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I never would have thought to connect expectations with. Well, you'll see in a minute.
I won't spoil it yet.
Yeah.
But it really got me thinking about how intertwined these ideas are, like expectations, boundaries, intentions. They all impact each other, don't they?
They do. The way we approach expectations sets the tone for everything else. It's like a chain reaction.
The material really highlighted the difference between expectations and intentions for me. It's like two sides of the same coin.
It is. We often use those words as if they're the same thing, but there's a really important distinction. You see, expectations are all about outcomes. It's that focus on a specific result. But intentions, those are about the effort you put in and the journey itself.
So instead of being laser focused on the destination, we should be more present during the journey.
Exactly. Intentions give us the freedom to adapt because we're not fixated on just one outcome. It's more about the growth and what we learn along the way.
That makes me think about when we ask someone a question. Are we hoping they'll validate our opinion, or are we genuinely wanting to understand their perspective?
That's such a great example. If we go into a conversation expecting agreement, we might be setting ourselves up for disappointment. But if our intention is to learn and understand, well, that opens up a whole new level of connection.
It's like that analogy we talked about earlier, the one with the doctor and the patient.
Ah, yes, that's the one. It's like going to the doctor and asking them to prescribe medicine for your neighbor instead of yourself, right?
Exactly. It's funny because it shows a mistake we often make. We look for external solutions to problems that are actually internal. We want others to change or situations to be different instead of focusing on what we can't control.
We try to change the world around us instead of changing ourselves.
Which brings us to that idea of the expectation gap. That can cause so much frustration, can't it?
It really can.
It's that space between what we expect to happen and what actually happens.
Yeah.
It's not that all expectations are bad, but it's important to recognize when they might be unrealistic or misdirected.
Right. Like expecting someone to completely transform who they are just because we want them to.
That's never going to end well. So how does all this apply to something like parenting? It seems like expectations are kind of a given when you're raising kids.
Absolutely. Kids need structure and guidance, and clear expectations are a big part of providing that. But it's about finding that balance. You know, we want to have expectations, but also give them room to grow and learn.
So it's not about being super strict and expecting blind obedience.
Not at all. It's about having standards that are realistic so kids can actually achieve them and build a sense of responsibility. It's about teaching them to do the right thing even when it's hard, not just when they feel like it. That's how they learn resilience.
I can see that. And I imagine communication is really important in all of this, making sure your kids actually understand what you expect of them.
Absolutely. Clarity is essential. When kids know the boundaries and expectations, they're more likely to make good choices and feel confident facing challenges. And that brings us to another big part of parenting, the art of saying no.
Oh yeah, the dreaded no. I think a lot of parents struggle with that one.
It can be tough, but it's such a crucial part of parenting. Saying no is how we set boundaries, protect our own well-being, and make sure we're not overcommitting ourselves.
So it's not just about saying no to our kids, but also to all of the demands that come up in life, like at work or in our social circles.
Exactly. Turning down that extra project or saying no to that event you just don't have the energy for, those are ways of saying yes to what truly matters.
It's like we're battling that fear of missing out, aren't we? That FOMO that makes it so hard to say no.
FOMO is definitely a powerful force. But here's the thing. When we do overcome that fear and embrace saying no, it actually reflects a deeper confidence in our values and priorities. We're not letting external pressures dictate our choices. It's like we have this internal compass guiding us.
Which loops us right back to the idea of shifting from expectations to intentions, doesn't it?
It does. When we loosen the grip on rigid expectations and embrace a more intentional approach to life, we open ourselves up to more flexibility, resilience, and even joy. We can enjoy the journey with all its ups and downs because we're not so fixated on one specific outcome.
I love that. This is all so insightful. I'm really starting to see how these concepts connect and build upon each other.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it all comes back to the importance of self-awareness. We have to take responsibility for our own thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Okay, ready to dig into that a bit more. What does it actually look like to shift from expectations to intentions? And how does that affect our relationships with others?
That's a great question. Let's explore that further. So how do we actually make that shift? From expectations to intentions, I mean. What does that look like in our daily lives?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. It sounds good in theory, but how do we actually put it into practice?
Well, it starts with a change in mindset. Instead of being fixated on a specific outcome, we shift our focus to the effort, the values we're embodying, the journey itself.
So instead of expecting a certain reaction from someone, we could set an intention to approach the situation with kindness and understanding, regardless of the outcome.
Exactly. It's about letting go of the need to control everything and everyone around us. We can't control other people's reactions, but we can control our own actions and responses.
I can see that, but it sounds challenging. How do we detach from those desired outcomes when so much of our world is focused on achieving specific results?
It takes practice, conscious effort, but think of it like this. Imagine hiking up a mountain. If you're only focused on reaching the summit, you might miss all the beauty along the way, the wildflowers, the breathtaking views.
You're so right. It's about enjoying the entire experience, not just the end goal. And I bet this shift in thinking can really impact our relationships too.
Absolutely. When we release that pressure of expecting others to behave in a certain way or meet all our needs, it creates space for genuine connection and acceptance.
Because we're not constantly disappointed when they don't live up to our expectations, which, let's be honest, are often unrealistic.
Exactly. We allow them to be who they are without trying to fit them into some mold we've created. And that acceptance is so powerful for building strong, authentic relationships.
And I imagine it helps reduce conflict and resentment as well.
Without a doubt. When we let go of those rigid expectations, we're less likely to be triggered or upset when things don't go our way. We can approach disagreements with more understanding, compassion, focusing on solutions rather than blame.
It's like shifting from a mindset of scarcity to abundance. Instead of feeling like we're always lacking something or that others aren't giving us what we need, we approach relationships with a sense of wholeness, gratitude.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And that sense of abundance can extend to how we view ourselves as well. When we release unrealistic expectations and embrace our imperfections, we create space for self-love and acceptance.
It's not just about our relationships with others then. It's about the relationship we have with ourselves.
Exactly. It's all connected. Managing expectations, setting boundaries, living with intention, it impacts every area of our lives.
I can see how trust plays a big role in all of this too.
Trust is fundamental to healthier relationships. It's built through consistency, honesty, mutual respect. When our actions align with our words, it shows integrity, trustworthiness. And when we trust ourselves to make good choices and honor our own boundaries, it strengthens our relationships with others.
So it's not just about trusting other people, it's also about trusting ourselves.
Absolutely. Self-trust is essential. It's about believing in our abilities, knowing our worth, and having the courage to set boundaries that protect our well-being. That kind of self-trust can be incredibly empowering.
This is making so much sense. I'm seeing how managing expectations, setting boundaries, embracing intentions, they're all connected and can lead to a more fulfilling and balanced life.
It's a journey, for sure, and it requires us to be aware, reflect, and challenge those old patterns and habits. But it's a journey worth taking.
I agree. The rewards seem to outweigh the challenges.
Absolutely. When we learn to navigate these concepts with skill and intention, we open ourselves up to so many possibilities, both personally and in our relationships.
And it all begins with taking responsibility for ourselves.
That's the key. It's recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond to challenges, how we set boundaries, what kind of relationships we cultivate. It's owning our feelings and actions instead of blaming others or expecting them to solve our problems.
That takes courage, though, especially when it comes to saying no and setting boundaries that might disappoint people.
It does take courage, but remember, saying no isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect. It's how we honor our needs and priorities. And ultimately, it's a gift to ourselves and to those we care about. Because when we can set healthy boundaries, we show up in our relationships as our most authentic and empowered selves.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about taking care of ourselves so we can be our best for the people we love.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present, authentic, and true to ourselves. It's not always easy, though, is it, to put ourselves first, especially in a world that often tells us to do the opposite.
I know what you mean. It's like we're constantly being told to be people pleasers, to seek validation from others. But then when we neglect our own needs and boundaries, well, Doesn't really work out, does it?
It's a recipe for burnout. We end up depleted, and that doesn't benefit anyone, least of all the people we're trying to help.
So it's actually the opposite of what we think. By taking care of ourselves, we're in a better position to show up for others.
Exactly. When we're grounded in our values, taking care of our emotional and mental well-being, we have so much more to give. We can be more present, more compassionate, more understanding in all our interactions.
And less likely to resent others or get upset when things don't go according to plan.
Right. We can own our feelings and reactions without expecting others to fix things for us. That kind of emotional maturity is so important for building trust and intimacy.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I'm really starting to grasp how these concepts, expectations, boundaries, intentions, how they're all intertwined and how much they influence our lives.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you. They might seem simple at first glance, but there's so much depth to them, so much potential for growth and fulfillment.
As we wrap up today, is there a final thought or question you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think a powerful question to ask yourself is this: what is one area of your life where you could benefit from putting these principles into practice? Maybe it's a relationship that's causing you stress, or a work situation that's draining your energy. Or maybe it's a personal goal that feels just out of reach. Whatever it is, take some time to reflect on how managing expectations, setting healthy boundaries, and living with intention could bring more balance and joy into that area of your life.
That's a great question to consider. Thank you so much for joining us on the Future Strong podcast. We'll see you next time as we continue to explore ways to build a stronger future together.